If you're honestly kind of dreading heading back to school after the break, this episode is absolutely for you. Welcome back to the Teach for the Heart podcast, where we tackle teaching challenges from a biblical perspective. Why are we here? Because we don't believe that our spiritual walk and teaching profession should exist in two separate domains. Rather, the hope we have in Christ should change how we approach everything, not just at home, but at school as well. So join us as we explore both those spiritual and practical sides of key teaching challenges, integrating them together so we can succeed at teaching, glorify God, and make a lasting difference in our students' hearts and lives. This episode is brought to you in partnership with the Herzog Foundation. I don't know about you, but sometimes when it's time to head back from a break, we realize, oh my goodness, I am not ready to go back. And sometimes part of that reason is because we've counted on the break to make us feel refreshed and ready. So we went into the break exhausted, tired, maybe really overwhelmed and even discouraged. And we think, okay, the break will fix it all. I'll come back. I'll be refreshed. I'll be ready to go. And I will tell you, if sometimes there are times when we just need a break, and the break does do that. It is very invigorating and refreshing. However, I know I've experienced multiple times where the break did not do that. And part of the reason was because I needed more than just a break. My hope was misplaced. I was trusting in the break to solve problems that it wasn't going to solve, or to do things in my heart that it wasn't going to do. In other words, I needed more than just some time away. I really needed to reconnect with God. I needed to reconnect with why I was here. I needed some deeper soul work, in other words, than just time away. So if that's how you're feeling, if you're feeling like, yeah, Linda, I am not ready to go back. If I'm honest, I'm kind of dreading it. The break did not solve it for me. I'm not refreshed and ready. Then I hope that this episode will be really helpful for you as we kind of dive into how do we renew our hope and really do that soul work so that we're ready to step in and back into the school year. So here's a few things. Number one, we need to remind ourselves that God has called us right where we are. So wherever God has you, that is where he has called you. You are working for him first and foremost. It's so easy to get caught up and think what my admin says matters, what the parents say matters, what the students think matters. And I'm not saying those things don't matter. Obviously, we should take feedback and care about doing a good job. But ultimately, what matters most is the fact that we are serving Christ first and foremost. So we should be seeking first and foremost to honor him and recognizing that he's placed us right where we are for a reason. So if you're feeling like I don't want to go back and face, whoever it is you don't want to face, recognize, oh, Christ is calling me back. I'm going back for him, not for the students, not for the parents, not for the admin. First and foremost, it's for him. And one verse that helps remind us of this is Colossians 3:23 and 24. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. So number one, remind yourself God has called you to this work. Number two, remind yourself that God is with you. I think of Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So whatever it is that as you think about going back, you just think like, I don't want to do this, face that, whatever it is that's kind of stirring up that anxiety and, fear, whatever it is in your soul. Remind yourself that God is with you in that situation. He is there to help you know what to do, know what to say. He's there to give you wisdom. He's there to give you energy. He's there to give you strength. He's there to work in the situation. And he is at work even when we don't see it. Even when we look at the situation and say, this is bad. It seems like this is the opposite of what should be happening. God is at work in that situation. He's at work in us. He's at work through us. And he is always, always with you. So you are not stepping back into that classroom alone. You are stepping back in it with God at your side. Which brings us to number three. Pray and ask God for help. God is there, but we only access him when we do that, when we pray and we ask him for help, when we connect with him, when we ask him to be involved in the situation, when we ask him to work in our hearts and give us the energy and the strength and the wisdom that we need. I love Philippians 4, 6, and 7. You've heard these verses before, but listen to the truth. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So, absolutely take your fears, your worries, even your feelings to God. Share them with Him. You can tell Him exactly how you feel. He knows anyhow. So, you can share with Him why you're afraid, why you're worried, why you just aren't ready yet. But then ask Him to help, ask Him to be involved, and then let that peace fill your heart. Sometimes we have to choose to let go of our anxiety, our fear, our emotions, and say, God, I'm going to choose to trust you in this situation. I'm going to choose to know that you're with me, that you're going to be with me, and to face this upcoming day, upcoming week with you. So that is number 3, pray and ask God for help. Number 4 actually comes from the same verses. I don't know if you caught that little phrase. It says, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. So number 4 is practice gratitude. Okay, once again, this is not rocket science. This is not something you've never heard before. But the power isn't in knowing that it's something we should do. It's in actually doing it. So I really want to encourage you to sit down and just make a bullet list of all the things that you're thankful for. You can make a list of things that you're thankful for in your personal life, at home, um, things that happened over the break, but then definitely include or make a separate list of things that you're thankful for at school. And you might say, Linda, what if I'm not feeling thankful for anything? That's the point of the exercise, right? To actually sit down and remind ourselves of how many wonderful things there are, how many great aspects God has blessed us with in our job. No matter how hard this year has been, there are wonderful things that God is doing. There are blessings that He's giving you at school. And so take a moment and just jot all those down and then thank Him for them and be reminded of just how good God has been. That is just so helpful to turning around our frame of mind. All right, let's review. So far we said number 1, remind yourself that God has called you to this. Number 2, remind yourself that God is with you. Number 3, pray and ask God for help. Number 4, practice gratitude. And then number 5, pray for your students and your school. This is such a powerful way to get our minds off of our own struggles and onto the people that we've been called to serve. Praying for our students and for our school also reminds us that God is at work. And then one of the most important things, our prayers are actually powerful, active participation in what He is doing. So really want to encourage you to pray right now, but also to implement some habits of prayer. Give you some that can be something that can be really powerful and exciting as you head back. So here's just a few ideas we've collected. There's obviously so many different ways to implement habits of prayer, but here's a few ideas that you might find really interesting. You might want to try a couple of them. So one is prayer walks around your school. This can be done outside or inside. So if you're in a warmer climate, definitely not good. This is not going to happen in winter in Ohio, but if you're in a warmer climate or a warmer time of the year, you can take a walk around your school building and outside and pray for the different areas as you pass. And if it's winter, you can just do the inside and avoid the outside. So, for example, there's just something really powerful about walking and praying can help focus our minds, but also if you're actually praying for the things that you pass. So for example, you pass the office and you pray for the office staff and for your principal. You pray the lunchroom, and so you pray for kids' friendships and that they will grow in their kindness and interactions with each other. You press the gymnasium and you pray for the athletes. You might pray for each teacher as you pass their classroom. So all kinds of things will come to mind if you're in an active state of prayer walking around the school. And obviously you can choose the amount of time that you spend on it. You could spend a lot of time on that, but you could also set a timer for a smaller amount of time if that is what you have. So prayer walks around the school is one way that you can intentionally pray for your students in school. Another way is praying over the desks as you sit in seats. So in elementary, this is a little bit easier, but it can work in secondary too. And I'll tell you how in just a second. So, going around and actually taking a moment to either sit in the seat of that student or just maybe touch their desk is a great way to just walk around and consider each student in your class. Obviously, in elementary, you only have one group of students, but if you have multiple groups of students, if you co-teach and or if you're in secondary and you have multiple groups, you can just simply pick one group for each session. So you might say, okay, today I'm praying for my first period class, and I'm going to walk around and pray for each student there. And then maybe next week or the next day, you could pray for your second period class, and so on. So that's another really great way to pray for our students. A third idea is simply to have a roster and to just either highlight or put a star or somehow mark off when you pray for each student. And here I want to encourage you, those ideas I've given you so far are more ideas when you have a chunk of time, even if it's as small as 10 minutes, but you need kind of a little bit of a chunk of time to go around and do this. But this idea can be done in just tiny blocks of time. So praying with a roster, you could say, you know what, I'm just going to pray for one or two students a day. I'm just going to spend a minute or two as part of my prayer time praying for a specific student. That might not seem like it would make that big of a difference. It's just a minute or two, but even those small amounts can really, they're powerful, right? Remember, prayer not only is petitioning God, it's also changing our hearts and how we're seeing our students. And so that can be really powerful. So once again, just to crystallize this idea, you have a roster of your students and you simply choose one or two to pray for at a time. It can be as long or as short as you want to in that moment, but even if it's just a minute per student, and you mark it off and just go through systematically and pray for them over the course of, when you think about it, one day you're not going to make a lot of progress, but over the course of weeks and months, it really, really adds up. And that can be so powerful. So let's recap. If you're feeling discouraged, once again, remember the power isn't just in listening to my message, it's in actually doing some of these things. So remind yourself God has called you to this. Remind yourself that God is with you and you're not walking in alone. Number 3, pray and ask God for help, and then choose to trust Him and let His peace fill your heart. Number 4, practice gratitude. And number 5, consider implementing one of these habits to regularly pray for your students and school and watch what God does in your heart as a result. I hope that you have enjoyed listening to these different ideas. I have a few other resources that I just want to share with you that we have that can help you if you're saying, Linda, I'm still not there. I'm discouraged. So one is our Love Teaching Again challenge. It is a free challenge, just kind of gives you some tools to reinvigorate your love for teaching. You can get that at teachfortheheart.com/free, teachfortheheart.com. Actually, yeah, teachfortheheart.com/free, I think is where I'm going to check that right now because I'm not sure if that's exactly the right URL. So let me check that out. That is not the right URL. So here's what you're going to do instead. You're going to go to teachfortheheart.com and you're going to scroll down just a little bit and you'll see it right there on the homepage. So head to teachfortheheart.com, scroll down just a tad. You'll see it right there on the homepage. It's called the Love Teaching Again Challenge. Second resource I have for you is our prayer challenge. So this is another way that you can focus and pray for your students and your school. Simply go to teachfortheheart.com/prayer challenge, teachfortheheart.com/prayer challenge. And that way you're going to get a prompt either weekly or daily, whatever you choose, with specific things that you can pray for your students and your school. And then I want to let you guys know that we have an exciting new program that we are working so hard at right now. It is going to be a program that's going to help teachers stop feeling defeated and face each day with hope. I have so much I want to tell you about, but I'm going to wait. But that will be coming out in February. So if that sounds like something that you would love to join us for, keep your eye out in February. We'll announce it on the podcast. We'll also send it to our email list. So make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast to get notifications and or on our email list. You can once again go to teachfortheheart.com and click Stay Connected, and you'll be able to join our email list, and we'll definitely let you know when that program is ready. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you did enjoy this episode and want to share it or review it or check out the links, you can go to teachfortheheart.com/331 to see the post and the links that go with this episode. Well, thank you so much for being with us. I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you in partnership with the Herzog Foundation. All views and opinions are our own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Herzog Foundation. I can't wait to speak with you again soon. In the meantime, teacher, remember, God is at work in you and through you, and He's using you to make a difference. Keep your eyes on Him and teach for the heart.